There are more answers than you know.
Each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker. And there was no sexual assault. County Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.
Okay, very good. I don't even think you guys could hear me saying that. I was saying I have so many windows open, I couldn't even find the StreamYard tab. I don't think I've even ever done that before. So welcome, everybody. It's so nice to see you guys. Hey, thank you so much, McJ. And hi, Midge Elkins. How are you doing? Hey, Thomas McCarthy, Sirius Black. And let's see, who did I see? Is it Amy S? Let's see, Angel D. How you doing, my girl? Kim Vest, welcome. How's it going? And it was Amy S. Hi, Amy S. How are you? Hope you guys are all having an awesome weekend. Hi, Harry Holland. How's it going? Let's see. All right. So I am going to change plans for this evening. Well, I was going to say just a little bit, but it's actually kind of a lot of it because I'm just going to be really honest with you. I am really not feeling well at all this evening. And I started feeling really not well just in the past couple hours, but I hate canceling live streams because, sometimes I really look forward to being with you guys or, being with the chat community in a live stream. And I know other people do as well. So I really just hate to do that. Hey, Pixie Dust with 3, how's it going? But what I was originally going to present tonight is it's just a little more than I have the energy for right now. So what we are going to do, just so we can all get together and be in chat, is take a look at some of the coverage. And I know we've done this before with different pieces of media, but I found a couple really super interesting things that when I watched, I was like, oh my gosh, wow, I cannot believe people were even saying that way back towards the beginning of the investigation. I mean, way back in the beginning. And one reason this is particularly relevant to what I've been working on this channel recently that's going to be coming out. It's going to be, I guess, in a live stream now, probably on Monday evening. And I have an upload for you tomorrow is as we take a look back at everything in the investigation, even what's been going on in the court documents, the motions, the orders, what has been sealed, what's been redacted, what has supposedly been made available to us, even among this really, you know, environment of secrecy and this super strict and super broad gag order, um, it really is not at all what it seems. And it's starting to become very apparent, probably because at this point in the game, it is inevitable. If this is going to go to trial, if these charges against Brian Koberger are going to be tried in a court of law, the trial is going to go down. It is going to be a matter of public record whether anyone likes it or not, and the inevitability of the things that have been covered up, the secrets that have been kept, the stories that have been changed, and kind of the BS that's been spoon fed to us, the public, with the thinking that we don't know any better and we're just going to always accept it as being the truth. All of that is going to be exposed. And I think it's going to be exposed in a really big way. And well, for me, at least, from my opinion, that's really ramping up right now. Let's see. Yeah, those are hard to find. So, Angel D says, the girl with the long black hair seen sharing a car with BK, the OG DD driver, the photos of the man in a ski mask, all of that, they're all gone. They are very, very hard to find, if they are even available to find at all. I do agree with that. Yeah. Hi, Kevin. How's it going? Always so nice to see you. Oh, hey, thanks. I really appreciate that. Gosh. I don't even know where to start down the road of what I was, just started talking about. That's going to be my uploaded video that's going to be coming out tomorrow morning. And, within all of those questions or ideas that I just mentioned, well, there's a lot of important questions I think that we need to be asking. There's a lot of important questions that are just being naturally raised, and particularly going along with the demolition of 1122 King Road, an act that was directed by the University of Idaho, whether anybody in this world liked it or not. I know a lot of people who talk about that demolition here on YouTube and other social media platforms and in the news in general think it's a horrible idea. And this includes, tried and true, super high experts in their field. It's a bad idea. Why the heck would you, raise a house and risk the potential of losing any evidentiary value that exists in that house, since the trial is going to be underway? We don't know when, but sometime, well, in the next couple to few years at least. I also shared with you during a recent live stream that the two guys from the University of Idaho that I've been in touch with forever, it seems like at this point, share their opinions on some relevant things, just when we're chatting every now and then. Now it's been like every few weeks because I've had a lot going on, haven't been talking about the case as much, but we do talk. They said their personal feelings, and they have the understanding. They're really not like self-righteous or arrogant at all. They're really not. They have the understanding that, what they're saying might not be representing the feelings of everybody at the university. Of course, they get that. But among the people that they talk to, and these are people who live right in the area of 1122 King Road, looking at the house is painful for them. Of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, that's just part of daily life for people who are at the University of Idaho right now, right? But it's not like this overbearing burden that nobody else is able to handle. And oh my gosh, it's gotta go. It's ruining my life. It's ruining what I say last time. It's ruining my dog's day. It's like nothing like that. they feel, and they feel that those around them also share this same sentiment, that they would much rather have that house standing and have to look at the ugly ass thing every day than to have it gone and to lose any evidentiary value that might assist the prosecution in the trial of, cinching the case against whoever it is, whether it's the current suspect or somebody else, somebody that took the lives in such a horrific way of their friends. They don't understand it. They personally are opposed to it. They say literally everybody that they know who is a student, at least, is opposed to it. It's been discussed in classes. It's been discussed among the community, beyond students, with their professors and other people in the community. And they say that they really don't know anyone who is all for it. They feel, as I think a lot of people have gotten the idea, that this was really a very upper level decision within the university administration. And the reason that the decision was made did not have anything to do with the feedback that the administration was in fact receiving from the university community. So we have to ask the question why, and that the demolition of the house, along with some other things, really lends to the question, were people at high levels in the university involved in a material way in the investigation, the direction of the investigation, the runnings of the investigation, and ultimately the outcome of the investigation? And I think that there is sufficient reason and indicators for me, at least, to say, yes, they were, and they should not have been, because that should have been a matter exclusively for law enforcement, right? So I don't know if you guys have any opinions on that, but do you guys have any thoughts on that? Thought that for a while. McJay says, yeah, I might be a little late to the game in this. um, but my thinking on it, things have evolved as they have. I definitely never excluded the idea that people in the university were involved in ways they shouldn't have been. I mean, I've always assumed that was happening at some level, but I think it's becoming apparent in ways that are a little more scary than perhaps I initially thought. It looks extremely sus. Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate that. Are they trying to erase what happened? See, I don't know. I don't think that's it, because I think if their motivation was, we really just want to get rid of this house, it'll erase these terrible memories, it'll erase these bad feelings among students and people in the university, then I think that that is what we would be hearing, echoed in the voices of the students and the other people in the university community. But from everything I've heard, and particularly according to the two guys who I consider to be excellent sources inside the university community, you know, that's not the problem they have. They're not upset at the existence of the house. Like what happened. Nobody can erase that, right? So they're just as befuddled by why that house was demolished as the rest of the world is. Hey, John McSmith, how are you doing? Always great to see you. McJay says, it's a large source of revenue for the town, and they were losing money in enrollment. Well, I mean, yeah, the university is the center of the economy and, incoming revenue for the town. That's for absolute sure. But I mean, at least as far as the statistics, the data, because you know how I love my pie charts, that is available to the public, not necessarily only released by the university, but that is available to the public by other means. The numbers, year over year, including this year over last year or last year over the year before, have not changed dramatically. I mean, anecdotally, there may have certainly been differences in, what people on the campus would see as far as visitors for incoming prospective students checking out the campus because of what happened, right? But as far as the hard facts and numbers go, it appears that there has not been that much of a fluctuation. But I mean, you're definitely right about that. Hi, Fluffy Muppet. How are you doing? Hi, American Princess. How's it going? Fluffy Muppet says powers and law enforcement seem to be annoyed with how involved and invested the public has been. Absolutely. Yes, indeedy. Gosh, I wish I had the video that I'm uploading tomorrow ready for you because it would just segue right into it. But it'll be uploaded tomorrow morning. It's done. It's just not uploaded yet. Let's see. All right, so let me just find something for you here. And again, I said, we're going to be changing directions a little bit this evening initially from what my plan was because I'm feeling like heavily under the weather this evening. I feel like I'm getting sick of some sort. Whoopsie. Pause. Okay. But just so you know that's going on. Okay, just one second here. Give me a moment. Been having a little tough time of it. I spilled soda on my computer. You know how Dr. Peppers, when you open them, they like explode? I love Dr. Pepper, and I exploded a Dr. Pepper on my computer, so I went to put it, and I got a new one about a week ago, and last night I cracked the screen. I mean, it's been like, when it rains, it pours, right? I'm feeling it. All right, here. Well, one thing that we do know that I think is certainly evidence of the importance of the evidentiary value that that house itself, the structure holds, is the way that both the prosecution and the defense scurried to get their butts in there as soon as it was a done deal that that house was going to be going down soon.
Tonight, FBI investigators wrap up the first of 2 days they're spending at the Moscow home where 4 University of Idaho students were killed nearly a year ago. They're on site today and tomorrow to collect visual and audio data that'll help construct a model of the home. KREM 2's chief journalist Amanda Rowley joining us now live from Moscow tonight, where the FBI has just left for the evening.
Well, since the trial for the Moscow murder suspect has been delayed indefinitely, the FBI is taking advantage of this extended time to gather measurements of their own of the home to construct a model. Now, throughout the day, we saw crews gathering images coming in and out of the home and even bringing out what's left over as far as personal belongings and moving them outside. The home where Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves were killed 1 year ago still stands. Today, the plywood securing the windows and door of the house has been removed, and a specialized team with the FBI are on site collecting measurements and images. They launched a drone over the house this morning and appeared to be collecting images using 3D scanning technology. This will all be used to construct a model of the home. We won't learn much more about what the FBI is doing because it's still an ongoing investigation. So I asked Idaho's former state attorney general and county prosecutor, David Leroy, what he makes of this collection of evidence.
In this instance, it appears that the prosecutor is going to put some significant emphasis by virtue of a model and videos in terms of helping the jury understand how an alleged perpetrator might have moved through the house to get in, to go to whatever is alleged to be the first crime scene, to pass then to the second crime scene.
We noticed investigators are using FARO 3D laser scanners. The company's website says this technology can be used by law enforcement and prosecutors to reconstruct a crime scene and present it in the courtroom.
This is the diagram of today's courtroom. Everything you see here is measurable.
A demonstration video from FARO's website shows a few different ways to present the images, including a flyover view or virtual view of the scene.
But most importantly, you can create a specific viewpoint. What did that first responder see? What did that witness see? Or what could the witness maybe not see from that perspective?
It's not clear what version will be used in this case, but FARO's demonstration does give some insight into the possibilities. In the meantime, the house will be re-secured once the FBI is done here as early as tomorrow. Now, the university says it still intends to demolish the home, but it does not plan to do that this semester. Reporting in Moscow, Amanda Rowley, Creme 2 News.
Huh. Well, that is what happened. So you said, yeah, Creme 2 got some really great coverage. I think there was another, that was the one I just played, right? Creme 2 has great coverage of everything across the board having to do with this case.
Good morning. Welcome to Up with Creme. We want to get straight to breaking news this morning. The University of Idaho is taking down the house on King Road right now. That's the house where 4 students, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez, were killed last year. Creme 2's Brandon T. Jones is live in Moscow right now. So, Brandon, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Nicole, well, what we're looking at right now is that home that has been halfway demolished at this point. Take a closer look. I'll just step out of the way because we're about 30 minutes into what this process has been like here to remove this King Road house. You can see there's a crane emptying the debris into a dump truck right now. And the process started about 30 minutes early, so it looks like it may go on for another 30 or so minutes as they continue to get all of this taken care of. And according to university officials, they say this was the proper time to remove this home because it is a necessary step in terms of community healing. They also told us the process should take about 30 minutes or so, but it could take several days to clear the site completely. As for what prompted this decision to remove the house to date, university officials say tearing down the property is being done to decrease further impact on the current student population and for the students living here in the neighborhood.
Now, as I said earlier, and I said in a previous live stream, according to the 2 guys that I have been talking to for a really long time that have done nothing other than to prove themselves to be truthful, at least of their perspective and their representation of, their accurate representation about how others feel, that is not true. The student body, as I was just saying, people in the community, obviously they look at that house and they're like, oh God, you get that sick feeling. Well, they're going to have that sick feeling regardless of whether the house is there or not. They just lived through a horrible tragedy of which is going to certainly leave all of them with some kind of a post-traumatic stress, thing going on. And, they just went through something absolutely freaking horrible, just about as horrible as life delivers. I don't think, and they don't think, most importantly, that the house being there has anything to do with their experience of how horrible life can be after what happened to their 4 friends right down the road from them or right next door to them. So, that narrative is bullshit.
As the students are currently on winter break. And we also want to note that the house was given to the university earlier this year. Some family members of the victims have asked to leave the house until the trial. Others have said they're okay with the demolition. Neither the prosecution or the defense asked for the house to be retained. But back in October, the FBI accessed the property to gather additional data. The scanning they did during that period will allow them to create visual aids that could be used in the trial. And again, I just want to emphasize again that you can kind of feel some type of energy in this air over here this morning. And we know there's been a lot of deep and hard emotions that have been processed over the last year as we remember those students who lost their lives here at this home that is now demolished. But for right now, live in Moscow, Brandon T. Jones, KRIM 2 News.
So, Brandon, before you go, real quick, earlier in one of your live shots, I saw a couple other people standing around. Can you just explain, how many people are around? What's going on besides, of course, the house actually being demolished?
Well, yeah, before that, you can see this dump truck right here is taking out some of those debris. But yeah, people are around, but a lot of them are security officials with the University of Idaho. A lot of Moscow Police Department crews hanging around over here this morning, and just a lot of people who are working this particular situation, just trying to keep media crews off to the side, make sure anyone, if they are bystanders, don't walk in the middle of the road and things of that nature, Nicole.
Thank you, Brandon. The University of Idaho, of course, making that decision to demolish the house during winter break to avoid having as many people as possible on campus.
Read, to avoid having as much media attention as we can possibly avoid because we're being super shady. So, hi guys. Hi, Sis Fish, honey. I missed you. How are you doing? And everyone else that just came in. So I was just telling everybody, if you're just getting here, I'm just changing plans a little bit because I'm feeling pretty under the weather today. I feel like I'm getting sick quickly. So I am going to have a new upload tomorrow morning that is about, gosh, do you guys know, and maybe you had seen, I discussed in the video I'm going to be uploading tomorrow, I discussed, having this sense about what I'm going to talk about in a moment, as did some of you, because we discussed it here, and I discussed it also privately with some of you, but it was in watching the interview room, a few days ago, with Chris. Oh my gosh, my brain is really Chris. What's his name? Oh my gosh, and his wife Karen. They're great. I just think they do such a great job. He's a retired homicide detective. She's a retired investigative journalist, and she also for a while was a PIO, public interest officer, for a medium-sized city police department. So they certainly together know what they're talking about. Did you see this, Tall Thomas? Hi, welcome. How are you doing? McDonough, thank you so much. Yeah. So when they started talking about this, I was like, oh my God, we were right. If Chris and Karen say so, we were right. And it really got me into thinking about things and looking at things. So the exhibit okay. The probable cause affidavit supposedly comes out, right? We're so stoked. Oh my God, it's the PCA. How many times have we read that thing, right? Like we hang on every word. So, upon, considering some of these difficult questions, like, are there people in the upper levels of the university involved with the investigation in ways that they shouldn't be? And how influential are they? If they are, which I know they are, there's indicators of that. Okay, so what we have been looking at and reading and saying, oh, it's the PCA. And I go through this in a very detailed way in the video that I'm uploading that'll be out tomorrow morning, along with many other things. It's a long one. It doesn't say anywhere on it probable cause declaration, probable cause affidavit. I give you several other examples of documents from Idaho, from even right within that jurisdiction, that are probable cause affidavits or probable cause declarations or probable cause statements towards an arrest warrant or a search warrant. And they are all similar formed documents that say somewhere on them clearly probable cause affidavit or probable cause declaration. What we are looking at in the what was released that we've been calling the PCA is, what does it say on it? It says Exhibit A, statement from Brett Payne. Huh. What about that? Okay, Exhibit A, what? What's this supposed to be? Well, we're waiting for a PCA, so are we just going to all start calling it PCA? I'm not even sure how that happened. So how do we know that it's not just like, oh, you're being really picky? So they put it out and it just says Exhibit A, statement from Brett Payne, but obviously it's the PCA. Well, there's a few reasons that we know that it's not the PCA because, for example, other documents in that massive pile of court motions and orders that have been filed and returned since December 30th, 2023, some other documents explicitly say that that affidavit is sealed and there until there is a further court order unsealing it, and there has been no court order unsealing it. Well, okay, fine, that's enough. Also, well, it doesn't look like the form of a probable cause affidavit or declaration. And also, as we've discussed on this channel, and some of you have told me, and I know the Watts the Obsession legal consultants have certainly told me that in a probable cause affidavit, thou shall not lie. Because if you do, what you are in essence doing is ensuring that the charges that you are writing the probable cause affidavit for to get the arrest of the suspect, to get them off the streets and start the process of justice, those very charges, the foundation of the probable cause affidavit itself, will be thrown out because judges aren't stupid. Sometimes they're shifty, but they're usually not stupid, and your lies will be found out. Well, just in the very few opening sentences of the Exhibit A statement by Brett Payne that we have been, I believe, erroneously calling the PCA, there are lies. For example, the authoring officer, Brett Payne himself, the author of that exhibit that's not a PCA, says that he has 4 years experience in the Moscow Police Department. Well, that is untrue unless somehow there's some newfangled math I'm not really down with yet that says that April of 2020 to December of 2023 is 4 years and not 2.5 years. Okay, so maybe it's not the biggest lie, but it is a lie, and it could be substantial enough a lie, according to the Watts the Obsession legal consultants, to literally have the charges thrown out because you cannot lie in a probable cause affidavit. You see? So that's just the beginning. Suspicious says probable cause is to Idaho as the community is to Truckee. Both phrases I never hear to read again. Oh my gosh. No doubt. Very well said. American Princess is watching. What do you think about that, American Princess? You always have smart things to say. Right, exactly, Angel D. Why does probable cause sound weird now? Because we've been using it incorrectly like every other word since January. Maybe. I don't know. Gosh. It's pretty wild. So, and we've talked about this. It hasn't been a big topic because I was like, no, that can't be right. But oops, like I said, got this girl up with me. She's on my panel. But like I said, once I saw Chris and Karen talking about it in the interview room, I was like, oh my gosh, we were right. Crazy. You're flooded right now. Oh no, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Are you okay? So gets pretty deep. Let's see if this is 3 minutes left. I have part of the upload that I'm going to be uploading tomorrow. I can show you in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. What can I do for 3 minutes? Oh, yes, the case gets me. Yeah, I know. You can get definitely a little strange. Oh. Fever. I think I'm getting a fever. Please forgive me. Yes, I know I am. Let's see. 3 minutes. Uploaded 89%. But again, it's only a part of it. The video I have for you tomorrow is like, it's long. It covers, and that's just the surface of it. And I'm so sorry. I did have to bring an analogy to the Chris Watts case in there because I was talking about warrantless arrests versus an arrest with a warrant, which means that there would have been probable cause put forth to a judge before the arrest, a la Brian Koberger. So it was just the easiest case of an arrestless warrant that I was able to use that I thought a lot of you would certainly be able to relate to kind of make some points. Sorry, McJay. Then the PCA was released. Well, oh, right. Chief Fry, whoops, let's see. So Chief Fry said the 911 call would be released. Yeah, because we've heard that. And then, I gotcha. The PCA was released. No, what? Yeah, you get it. What was released was a big old bait and switch. Bait and switch. We've been baited and switched once again. Can you believe it? Okay, so Sirius Black says, keeping me honest. Oh, good thing the document says approximately 4 years. So maybe he had a different title in the department, possibly. Well, it does say, and I can show you definitely receipts for this. Based on my research, in April of 2020, he was sworn in to the department as a brand new, fresh rookie, evidenced by his receipt of the Rookie of the Year award that same year. Yeah. Okay. It's not right that Officer Payne lied in the PCA. That's not right. So, well, here's where things get like, where you have to start splitting hairs, but it is for a purpose. So did he lie in the PCA? I really strongly believe, I almost want to assert as a fact that we don't know because we have not read the PCA. We have read an exhibit A, in fact, authored by Brett Payne. And it was just kind of given to us like with a, kind of a hesitant, shaky hand, like you give a treat to a dog that has a history of biting. And then, the powers that be were like, oh my God, they took the freaking treat. They took the treat. They took the treat. Holy shit, they think they have the PCA. That's kind of like what I feel like happened. But still, him lying, being the author of the PCA still, I get what you're saying. I knew you'd be a good sport about that American Princess. So, the standard, okay, the SD version. Okay, so I'll just play the SD version of whatever it is I have. Dude, why do you have to do checks? It's not monetized. Come on, get real, YouTube. Okay, here we go. I'm not sure if I fully smoothly edited this portion of it. And again, it's just a small portion of the video upload that's coming out tomorrow. So do forgive me if I didn't. Because I threw 2 laptops against the wall in the past week. Just kidding, that's not what I did. Because I accidentally broke 2 laptops in the past week, I had to download things in little small chunks. So that's why I'm not sure about it.
The evidence as we know it to be so far and as presented by the court, and we are going to ask some serious questions about how forthcoming spokespersons for the investigation and even information about this case as presented by the Idaho court has been with us, public. And the answers we will arrive at may be shocking to some of you.
the facts of the case that we know right now.
It's possible misconduct.
The University of Idaho, our community, our country, and our officers. We've been working with Moscow police since we were notified on Sunday of the crime. We've helped when asked and continually push for information whenever possible, knowing that we cannot interfere with the important work and good investigations.
Confidential internal affairs investigation.
Welcome back to What's the Obsession, covering the state versus Bryan Kohberger. Let's go back to the beginning and look at something rather curious that have been told to us as the public. First, let's take a look at one of the recent court filings. Bryan Kohberger's lawyers want to make public their requests and arguments for dismissing charges. In the capital murder case that has been marked by secrecy and media restrictions, the attorneys for Bryan Kohberger request that the Honorable Judge make public their request for him to rethink his previously made and reinforced decision not to dismiss the indictments. Once again, I think we are seeing evidence of the defense's understanding of the power of public persuasion. Kohberger's defense had previously made 2 attempts to get the indictment against Kohberger dismissed. In one, they argued that the grand jury was given inaccurate instructions and that they used the wrong standard of proof. On the other hand, the defense argues that prosecutors withheld evidence that may aid in Kohberger defending himself against the heinous charges that stand against him, and ultimately that the prosecution biased the grand jury. The judge denied both motions in mid-December, and just before Christmas, Kohberger's team asked the judge to reconsider that decision, filing a request under seal. In the recent defense filing, they claim they only asked for those particular filings to be under seal because that's what the prosecution wanted, and they were on deadline to file the motion, so they acquiesced. They said their client has a right for the relevant law to apply as it is written rather than to disadvantage him with items remaining under sealed that are not within the scope of that rule. Arguments on Kohberger's request for the judge to toss out his previous ruling that the indictment will stand are scheduled to be heard on January 26, 2024. Now, we tend to take these pre-trial proceedings very seriously, the motions and the responses and the judgment, judge, because we want to know, what are they doing with the evidence? What are they doing with the product of the investigation, with the information that they obtained through the work of the investigation? And many people are relying on the court, at the very least, on being forthcoming about the information that is disseminated from the bench and that is revealed through official court documents. That's why some of the information that we are going to discuss in this video is going to be very surprising and disappointing to many of you. Now, before going forward in this video, I need to give credit to the YouTube channel, The Interview Room, with Chris McDonough and his wife, Karen, because if it were not for the work that Chris McDonough and his wife, Karen, did and revealed in a recent episode of The Interview Room that I will link in the description, I would either not have known about or would not have been confident enough to report on this information and some of the hunches that I myself have had and have discussed with some of you, or have heard some of you discussing amongst yourselves. So please, everybody go check out The Interview Room with Chris McDonough. He is a retired homicide detective, and the channel is amazing. Oh, and by the way, continuing my credit to that channel and little plug for that channel, his wife, Karen, is a former investigative journalist. She is also in the minds of so many Karen must have been reading the minds of so many people who are following this case and have marveled at the apparent probable cause affidavit that was released and that we all read through a million times, and how unredacted that document was. I've commented so many times during live streams and in videos about the level of unredaction in that document, and always thought it was a rather curious point, along with identifying some other curious points within that parent affidavit. But what if I told you that the PCA, or probable cause affidavit, that we have believed we were reading all along is not really the probable cause affidavit? It was the affidavit submitted to the court for the judge to sign for a warrant for the arrest of Brian Koberger and the search of his property. That's right. Have we really even seen probable cause affidavit? Well, I believe the answer is no. I had always wondered why the document that we were calling the probable cause affidavit was listed as Exhibit A, statement from Brett Payne. In fact, early on, when I was looking for this resource, it caused me a lot of confusion when I was just doing a basic Google search of it. And okay, let's be real though. It caused me like moderate confusion. I'm not like that busy. Okay. Why is that? Because a PCA is usually labeled as a PCA, a probable cause affidavit, not an exhibit A, B, C, or D. So here is an example of a probable cause affidavit from the state of Idaho. It's in with one of those Idaho cases of interest where we can find all of our court documents for the state versus Koberger case. And you can see on this form, it's called a probable cause declaration. And it says that the detective declares under penalty of perjury and the law of the state of Idaho that the following statements are true and correct: that this person is a deputy asserting who he is, and that the following sets forth the basis for probable cause for an arrest, bonding the named defendant of the crimes, and then it very specifically lists the crimes. This is typical of a probable cause affidavit in the state of Idaho. Now, just so we can be clear on things together, let's go over the two kinds of arrests that might happen and where probable cause comes into each of those types of arrests procedurally. Because we have to have class time with Kelly, so everybody get a seat and please spit out your chewing gum. So there might be a warrantless arrest or an arrest with a warrant. So in the case of Brian Koberger, he was arrested with an arrest warrant, meaning a judge signed a warrant for Brian Koberger's arrest after the probable cause declaration or affidavit was submitted to the court, establishing that there was indeed probable cause, United States, Idaho law, to arrest Brian Koberger in connection with the crimes for which the warrant was sought out, which in this case is 4 counts of first degree homicide and 1 count burglary. In this case, where there is an arrest with a warrant, the probable cause declaration or affidavit precedes the actual arrest. So in this case, a police officer clearly knows that a horrible crime has been committed. So the police officer outlines probable cause affidavit or statement that gives legal justification for the police officer to make an arrest. This is using the reasonable person standard. So essentially, if the situation presents itself where a reasonable person would believe that that particular suspect has committed the crime that is cited, then the police officer is justified in making the request for the warrant. If the judge agrees that the police officer is justified in needing that arrest warrant, they sign the warrant, and the warrant is live, and the suspect is then taken into custody with an arrest warrant in hand. Somebody may also be arrested as a warrantless arrest. Every time a person is arrested, there is not a warrant that is sought out and obtained beforehand. This can play out in a number of scenarios. Think, for example, of the Chris Watts case. There was a crime that was committed. The atrocities of the crime were unfolding. During the process, Chris Watts being interviewed, certain levels of a confession came forth and the facts came together. At some point during the questioning of Chris Watts, that gave the officers of the law probable cause to believe that Chris Watts committed the crime, and he was arrested without probable cause affidavit because the situation was still unfolding. In this case, there will be a probable cause hearing after the arrest. We then enter into the pretrial phase of criminal procedure. And in this case, there will be a probable cause hearing after the arrest is made. A judge will determine if there was, in fact, probable cause for the arrest. And if the judge determines there was probable cause for the arrest, the charges that were the basis for the arrest will hold. In this case, with the case of Brian Koberger's arrest, we know that there was an arrest warrant because it is right here, but we do not see the probable cause affidavit or probable cause declaration per se. What we do see is this Exhibit A by Brent Payne, which is not labeled probable cause affidavit or declaration. As I mentioned before, many have marveled at the fact at how highly unredacted this, what we believe to be a probable cause affidavit, was. But now we need to ask the question, and maybe some of you already have we even really seen probable cause affidavit?
Well, I know the answer to that question definitively now because I passed it through two members of the Watch the Obsession legal counsel, and they are like, how did nobody see that before, including myself? Oh my God, it's not the PCA.
Towards the arrest of Brian Koberger?
Oh, that's all we've got. I thought there was more of it, so you got a lot of video to watch tomorrow. And I edited some of that long class time with Kelly part out of it. We got a little bit wordy. But yeah. Oh gosh, so much more. But I've already said it all in the video, so I'm not going to say it again. But what am I gonna say though? See, I don't want to say anything because then, like you mentioned, Angel, perhaps other channels are gonna feature it before my video even comes out tomorrow. So I'm speechless for the first time in my life. Oh, hey, thanks, Sirius Black. I appreciate that. So now I guess you know what I'll mention. Since the interviews room live stream was already out, and I'm not going to mention, I'm not going to, things that he mentioned that were his own thoughts in his video. I gave him credit for the general idea because they get credit for that. But now I'm going to quote him on a few things. So, his wife asked, okay, so in the probable cause affidavit that we used to call it, almost fooled you guys. No, just kidding. I just slipped. It's not the probable cause affidavit though. It's Exhibit A. Statement by Brett Payne. It talks about the timeline of when the call came in, and then essentially it skips to when he arrived that day, which was approximately 4 hours after the 911 call was made. So when watching the interview room, Karen, Chris McDonough's wife, asks him, so, tell them when, you had to, she says, he had to go as a lead detective. He was called out to, maybe like 100 murder investigations. Tell him, honey, how long you had to get there. And he's explaining, well, back then we usually got the information on a pager, and you'd call and you'd say, oh, what's going on? They're like, oh, be at such and such a place. And then usually it was the middle of the night, of course, and we had to wear a suit. So, and then we had to get in the car and get there. And that whole thing could take no longer than an hour. obviously from their experience perspective, very surprised at something that many of us said, oh, that's like kind of seemingly lame. Or as I was doing some research, I was reading people on Reddit, as they always do, trying to sound like the official on any particular topic and saying, oh no, 4 hours is standard for a homicide investigator, a lead investigator to arrive at the crime scene itself. No, it is not. It's not standard. You're making that shit up. So, that was kind of a thing too, right? And he makes the point, well, these things happen in the middle of the night. They happen on Sundays, as this horrible crime did. They happen on holidays. They happen at the most inconvenient times, and you still need to be there within an hour because it is a dynamic investigation where there is living material and people going in and out trying to save lives or doing whatever it is they are doing, possibly contaminating the crime scene. He goes on to explain how once you do get there as a lead investigator, the first thing you do is get with all your peeps and you're like, whoa, who was in there? Yikes. And then you take pictures of their footwear and you take pictures of, anything that it is that they may have disturbed, which, I mean, okay, I can't say it with any sense of certainty because we are being treated like nursery school children on a field trip. And like we have to hold that line with little ropes around our waist too. So we really don't have any wiggle room and we don't get to know anything. That's how I'm starting to feel about it. I do not feel that the non-dissemination order is, especially after talking to our two friends at the University of Idaho and getting their take on it and the massive amount of frustration and, just really bad feelings they have about that non-dissemination order. And as they say, talking to the people in their community, that's the feeling that they share that's making them, that's ruining their day and ruining their doggy's day too, is that there's this non-dissemination order that's allowing all of these people, like on our very own platform here and a million others, worse, of course, being TikTok, saying whatever the hell they want about their slain friends or them or the family members, and they can't say jack. And, and obviously as all this is happening, they understand that the public is getting the wrong sense about things and they can't say anything. That is why my relationship with them as it is exists. Because they also feel like those nursery school children on a field trip holding onto the rope with a chain around their waist, and also a nasty teacher with a really big mole right above her. In fact, it's on her lip. It's a mole. It's a big one. So I don't know where that came from. So I got lost in the mole there. What was my point? Oh, so we don't know for certain, but from what we do understand, from what we've learned about the initial moments, hours, and even further than that of this investigation, that things weren't done in that very, I'm running a tight ship, first class kind of way, like Chris McDonough was explaining he did when that was his profession, right? Sorry, I was actually gonna go on camera today, but I was just saying in the beginning, I actually changed the plan for the live stream today because I hate canceling live streams because I was saying I know that, we all look forward to getting together. I don't want to like ruin anyone's evening or, let people down, but I really do not feel good. I'm getting a little bit of a fever, so I'm just kind of taking it easy right now. Sorry about the pulsating circle. Hey, Anaphylaxis, how are you? Oh my gosh, I was looking for you earlier because I've been really talking about how things are supposed to go in a crime scene investigation and, things with the probable cause affidavit. And our Anaphylaxis is a retired professional, and I wanted to get your opinion on that. Have you been watching all along? The basic premise is, hey, David, how are you? Thank you. I will. I'm not gonna be on very long, and I appreciate it. The basic premise, anaphylaxis, and this is something that I know that we've talked about here, and it definitely raises an eyebrow. And when Chris McDonough and his wife Karen were talking about it on the interview room recently, being professionals in the field, I was like, ha ha, ha 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 ha. I can finally actually talk about this and maybe not be wrong. That what we have been reading as being the probable cause affidavit, as they are in a kind of template form in Idaho and probably many states, I'm not sure about that, but it seems like they are, is not actually a probable cause affidavit. It is an Exhibit A, statement from Brett Payne. And for whatever reason, we have been calling it the probable cause affidavit if everything in that statement is in line and is up to par and is truthful, except for his first statement about himself and his experience in the Moscow Police Department, which is 4 years according to him, but according to all other official records, it is just under 2.5 years. That's a lie. But if everything else is not a lie, it might have the same function as a probable cause affidavit, but it is not a probable cause affidavit. And I'm wondering if you agree with that. Go to bed and get some rest. I know. I'm going to very soon. Oh, cool. Oh, okay. She was lurking her, y'all. So do you think I'm off base on this? You can tell me if I am, but you guys are so sweet. Thank you. So Sirius Black asks, Kelly, I'm not really familiar with the gag orders. Are they rare or is it something that is regularly imposed? Well, my sense of, gag orders, how we tend to see them used, and if others have different opinions, go ahead and please voice your opinion. That's what this is all about. Is that they're used in a more specific way, maybe towards a specific topic or a shorter and specific and defined period of time. The thing about this non-dissemination order or gag order is that it is very broad. It applies to everyone, and I think it is intentionally kind of left to be in the minds of people who are not officers of the court, perhaps open to a little interpretation. So I think there is an intention there for people who are even outside of the scope of the gag order to say, oh my God, does it apply to me? If I talk about XYZ, am I going to go to JAIL, And so it's very broad and it's very strict. And all of my obsessing with true crime and experience otherwise and consulting with the channel legal consultants, that's not normal. So it's more of the nature of the order. Hey, Lynn, how are you doing? Welcome. Oh, good. Anaphylaxis says, I heard you say was accurate, but I never worked in Idaho and I'm not familiar with their forms. Yeah. Well, so good. I'm glad that you said, I'm glad that you agree. Or I'd have to be like, oops, sorry, everybody, gotta go. That fever's on the rise. I'm going to erase the live stream. But, as part of just the research I've been doing for the video I'm putting out tomorrow, I did my best to look into how, those forms usually appear in discovery or just, as released to the public, and they are in fact template forms. Or at the very least, I guess I would say there's like those uniform similarities like that let you know exactly what it is you're looking at, right? So, oh, well, thank you very much. I don't know, that mole just really was like pressing in my mind. I had to talk about it. Thank you so much, Tina. So Angel D asks, is that why hardly anything is said about Bethany Funk? Because it's not the full PCA. dot, 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 dot. We got to be careful when we go with that idea, if it is in fact correct. But it's a good question, though. And they say nothing about first responders. The PCA would include discovery of the crime scene. Well, you know what? Actually, okay, so let's actually look at a probable cause affidavit from Idaho. That maybe will help us answer those questions because, anything I would have to say about it really just would be pure speculation because, I'm just a YouTube true crime creator and some other things. What do I know? All right, here, let me pull up what I got. File. Receipts by comparison, we call this. I just made that up. Just gonna give me a second. I gotta figure out which one's the right one because I have a bunch of different examples I wanted to be able to show you. It's in the video I'm putting out tomorrow morning. Michael J. Rourke, who are you? That looks like Chris Watts crap. All right, moving along. Oh, there's something else I really want to talk about, but I'm not going to because it's going to be a big part of the video you're all going to watch tomorrow morning. Okay, so, that's an arrestless warrant, so that's going to be different. I'm sorry, a warrantless arrest. So a warrantless arrest is going to be a totally different situation. So again, that's like Chris Watts, where there was not a probable cause affidavit submitted before the arrest because the arrest just kind of happened during the course of the investigation naturally while interviewing him, right? So we're not going to go there right now. Oh, those are about the vandal alert. That's going to be a special surprise. Can't talk about it yet. Special horrifying surprise, of course. Okay, well, okay, I don't have a whole thing here. But let me just give you guys an example. So as you, say if you were even to go into, where you find all the documents for this beautiful case, the Idaho jurisdiction court cases of interest page, whatever they call it. Okay. Oh, wait. Give me just a moment. I can't talk and chew gum here. Right. Okay, very good. Present. Actually, you shouldn't talk and chew gum because then you sound like Britney Spears. Okay, so all right. So here's an example, and again, it's just the first page, so it's not going to answer all of your intriguing questions, Angel D, but we do say, it has the official heading. Kenton County Sheriff's Office, in Idaho. It has the suspect listed, date of birth, case number, looking a little more official than Exhibit A, statement by Brett Payne, right? Probable cause declaration. So it doesn't say an affidavit, but it says declaration. So, you know, if a police officer or anybody else qualified to author a PCA is making a statement that's going to serve as a probable cause statement, it is an affidavit in itself. That's just the name for it, okay? So probable cause declaration is an affidavit. That does that make sense? All right. Anyway, so it says Detective Sergeant Andrew Foster declare under penalty of perjury of the law of the state of Idaho that the following statements are true and correct. So there's a statement of affirmation of truthfulness. Number one, I am a deputy sheriff for Tenton County, Idaho. Number two, the following sets forth the basis for probable cause for the arrest and bonding the named defendant for the crimes of. So now there's a statement saying what it is to accomplish through this document. That is also absent in our Exhibit A, statement by Brett Payne. It then lists the crimes along with the corresponding codes. So again, not present in our Exhibit A, statement by Brett Payne. Murder in the second degree, murder in the second degree. On November 30th, 2023 at approximately 11:41 p.m., Deputy Christensen with Tenton County Sheriff's Office was dispatched to 4600 Skyline Loop in Victor, Tenton County, Idaho, for a report of a 911 hang-up call. I do that all the time, and no one shows up at my door. Nobody likes me. It's just like on your phone, and I have done that a lot recently, and I flip out every time I do. But I hang it up immediately. Deputy Christensen was informed by dispatch that there were loud sounds of yelling in the background of the phone call and then silence. I guess that's why people aren't showing up at my door. I'm doing things incorrectly. I need to yell and then be silent. Upon further review of the 911 call recording prior to, we're never going to know. But you can see right away how this is very different than Exhibit A statement by Brett Payne, right? So, hi, Mrs. B. How are you doing, sweetheart? That's right. Good job, Angel. See, you're good. You're good. You can come anytime you want. Take away from today's live. The PCA ain't the PCA, and don't talk while chewing gum, or you will sound like Britney Spears. That's right. That's right. And nursery school teachers have big moles on their lips. Scary. Oh, Rosie, I hope you feel better, sweetheart. Oh, hi, US Kiwi 1986. So it's good to see you in alive very much. Welcome. How are you doing, my friend? US Kiwi asks, is it true, whoops, that BK, oh, and thank you, Rosie. Thank you so much. The BK had access to local law enforcement dash cams and body cams? Well, I certainly hope not. I actually have not heard that. I don't believe that to be true. But that is something that I could just not know. But I do also want to say that could also fall into the category of the copious amount of bullshit that floweth over when it comes to this case, like tunnels. Not saying that that's something you usually provide, US Kiwi, but I just wanted to say that I just don't know either way. Oh, I'm so sorry, Rosie. Feel better, sweetheart. So, Anaphylaxis says a PCA would still be done after the arrest. Right. Let's see, when did you say that? So about 6 minutes. So are you talking about in the case of a warrantless arrest? Right. I think that's what you're talking about. And then they would have a probable cause hearing, generally speaking, correct? I wasn't even trying to do that. I was just like, I wish I could just, get it all out now. I'm glad you feel that way. Sirius Black says, I appreciate being able to ask these questions without being jumped on by someone in the chat. Thank you, chat. It's very hard to make your message understandable and not sound judgmental sometimes. Right. Yeah, no, we're cool like that here. Yeah. How are you doing? Welcome. The gag order didn't stop MSM talking. All it did was silence the students and the victims' families. That's exactly right. Yep. That's right. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. We have another Kelly. There's actually several Kellys that come to live streams. This could get confusing. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. I actually was just thinking about who specifically MSM is too, but I get the main gist of it. But who specifically is that referring to? Mainstream media. There you go. That's right. Yep. Okay, so, well, you know what? Oh gosh, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. And, you know, I told you I was going to change the plan. And I changed the plan for my proposed change of plans. But I think I am going to wrap this up because I just got to go to bed. I can feel like my forehead's getting hotter and I don't want to get sick. Because I got a lot of life to do, right? Don't you feel that way a lot of times? So, well, thank you guys so much for being here. And I will do another live stream that, you know, had what did the thumbnail? It was like, was a line crossed? And that's going to have to do with specifics about how the upper levels of the University of Idaho administration got too involved with this investigation and the outcome, and some other things extending from that. So I do have all that for you in a live stream file, and we'll probably do that Monday night. And then tomorrow morning, Eastern time sometime, look for the upload that is going to be all about Ain't Nobody Read That PCA. And do not chew gum while you're talking because you will sound like Britney Spears or just a cow chewing cud. No, about everything we were talking about tonight, but then so much more. Like the timing of the vandal alerts and the cease of the vandal alerts. And it gets really involved. It gets a little rabbit holey. But sometimes, you know, I do have 30 bunnies right here in my house. I can see about 10 of them right from my eyeballs where I sit. So sometimes we do hop down those rabbit holes. Oh, well, since the Eagles are out, I guess I will give you this. Go Bills tomorrow. Wah, wah, wah. I'm just kidding. As I sit here in New York, I know a lot of Bills fans. Yeah, go Bills. Woo! Aw, hey, thank you, American Princess. I appreciate it. You are funny, Angel D. Yeah, thanks for being here, Sirius Black. I'm glad you had a good experience in chat. We have great people here. Thank you guys so much. Everybody in chat, you guys are always so super amazing. And moderators, you guys are the bomb. Subscribers, members, you know that I love you all. And definitely comment in the video tomorrow. I can't wait to see what you guys think. Hopefully, I will see you Monday night, as long as I'm not actually getting sick, in which case I'll do it Tuesday or Wednesday whenever I feel better. But at this time, I'm planning on doing it Monday. Who are they playing tomorrow? Who's your team, David? Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Good night, McJay. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your perspective, Anaphlexis. I super appreciate it. Thank you, Mrs. Morris Reed. Thank you so much. Are you a reading teacher? Kansas City. All right. So, well, you have a former Eagles coach, longtime Eagles coach, Andy Reid. Went to a lot of Eagles games when Andy Reid was coaching because one of my friends used to play for the Eagles. He didn't play for the Eagles at the time when I went to the games. He had retired from the Eagles. That's why I got the good tickets. So, yeah, Andy Reid. He's lost a lot of weight. Oh, yes. Gosh. Thanks, Jay. Please hit the like button on your way out. I'd really appreciate it. Support the channel. Oh, Ireland. Wow. Thanks, Kelly from Ireland. Good show. Hope you feel better soon. Thanks, Thomas McCarthy. I'm really glad you could make it. Thanks for being here, and I very much appreciate that. Bill's Mafia, yes. All right, guys, I'll just sit here forever if I don't get going. So everybody, please lock your windows and doors. You know, if you live in my part of the world or near Buffalo, that's for sure. Definitely put on some layers because it's damn cold out there. Please don't slip on the ice. Watch out. Sometimes ice can be invisible, both when you're walking on your feet and in your car. So please use extra caution and please be good to yourself because life is hard and I know you deserve it. So, yep, looks like it's Bills and Chiefs. Bills Mafia versus Andy Reid, who must have had lap band surgery. Yeah, are you near are you in New York too? I don't want to get too specific, but yeah. Cold, cold, cold. Yes, Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, blah, 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 blah. I can't right now. My head just hurts too. It's not hot. Oh. Oh, New Zealand. Nice. That's like the one place, like the one, yeah, that's like the one place I haven't even kind of been near that I really like to go to. I've been a lot of cool places in the world. Not that far across the continent, or the continent, yeah. Not that far across the globe. But everyone I know who's gone there, it's like the one place they want to go back. They have to go back to. Oh, wow. Very cool. So nice to learn about you guys. Okay, all right, guys. So I am going to take off, but I will see you guys very soon. And yes, please do take care of yourselves. Like I'm going to go take care of myself and go to bed right now because you deserve it.